Hello, welcome to the Keto Mom page. My name is Stephanie. Happy Friday if you're tuning in live. If it's another day, happy whatever day it is for you. All right, we're continuing to go through the book that we're going through called Mind Shift. And it's different mind shifts, different perspectives, different thoughts to help you realize I didn't realize I thought that way, or I didn't realize this was going on in my mind. I didn't think I was thinking that way. Oh my goodness, I never had an awareness of I should pay attention to the thoughts I'm thinking about. And so this is an incredible book here on the Keto Mom page. You can find recipes, keto tips. I can give you some suggestions. I can help you on your health journey. And I want to help you with your thinking. I think it's the number one thing that if you have goals to be a healthier, best version of you, it starts in your thoughts. It starts with the words that you're saying, the way that you believe in yourself. And if you don't see that in a positive light, if you've got negative thoughts or constantly beating yourself up here, it's going to come out in all the ways that you act, treat other people, the decisions that you make. So this book we have been going through for a little while. At any point in time, first of all, if you have a question for me about how to eat or how much water to drink. Hey, what's the flavor of ketones that you're drinking this morning? If you were a ketone drinker, I had the Fueled by Female. I think it was mango, maybe pineapple. I drank my ketones, went for a walk this morning, had some great conversations with some of my friends / business partners. Had a great morning. My husband tore apart a car. He took out our batteries. He's replacing them because our van is currently sitting in the driveway with some challenges. But guess what? Perspective, super important. And so at any point in time, you can ask me questions below. You can send me a message or a DM. You can go to ketomomsecrets.com, all one word, ketomomsecrets.com, click on mindfulness. We've gone through books for 2 years. If you want to go and watch the other videos that we've done, scroll through the page or go to ketomomsecrets.com, click on book club, how to get started, recipes. We've still got a really fun flavor, brand new flavor of Harvest Sunrise of ketones. You can go to ketomom.com. If you want some ketones, if you want the best fuel to not only change your mind or help your mind or turn on your brain, give you some energy to last through your entire day, to help you with your appetite, to help you feel incredible. I call it my mom fuel. It's for anybody. Post trial in the comments or go to ketomom.com. I'd love to connect with you. So here's what we are doing. I actually feel like this topic today is actually really, really serious. I've seen it in people's lives, and I'm going to tell you that most of the time I try to make conversation light. I like to have fun with it, but I'm going to tell you this conversation, it's about a poison that most people have in their lives. I don't want to say most. I'm going to say a lot of people allow this poison into their life. They don't even realize it. And it's never too late, but I'm going to tell you that if you don't realize it and then it sneaks within your soul, it is going to be challenging to get out. It's a choice. It's a poison that people don't probably realize they open a door to. And I'm telling you right now, if you do not listen to this chapter, if you do not take this seriously, it can ruin your entire life. And you might go, wow, what's the poison? I'm about to tell you. It's super serious. So the chapter we're going through mindset number 8, and it's called bitterness, a poison that will kill you. Now listen, do not tune out. Do not think I know what she's talking about, bitterness and unforgiveness. I'm going to read to you from this book just a couple things I underlined. Here's the book again. Take a screenshot, go grab the book. But I've also experienced this and watched people really go down a negative rabbit hole in their life because of this one poison. And so in the book, he talks about how one of the hardest people to help is a bitter person. What does that look like? He says, we know that obesity and bad diets lead to heart disease, which can kill many people. He goes, but bitterness too is a silent killer. Nothing will steal your health, your relationships, your joy faster than carrying your emotional baggage with you. Bitterness, resentfulness, envy, unforgiveness can poison your soul and cost you the intimacy of being loved and truly known in your life. So this might look like, and maybe you're going, oh, I don't have bitterness in your life. If you were just to take a step back and just reflect on your thoughts, your past. I'm not saying go dig into your past, but I'm going to tell you, if I were to say, like, is there anybody in your life right now that you have unforgiveness for? Anybody in your life that you're like, when you think of that person, it causes resentment, it causes frustration, it causes anger. I'm going to tell you right now, I've seen this in people's lives. I have talked to people in the last 48 hours that this one conversation, this one topic, this one word, bitterness, opens a door into your life that you do not want to open. And if you might go, hey, Stephanie, if we're just talking about your health journey, and I say, tell me what you're eating. Hey, I'm doing all of these things and I feel like I'm eating perfect. And you don't actually pay attention to your emotions or the things that you're holding from the past or people or resentment, that actually plays a factor in the rest of your life. Maybe you've never thought about it like that before. And so as we go on into this chapter, here's what he says. Our author says this. He goes, we have access to a global incubator that allows us to study humans like never before. It's called the internet. We can watch people. And he goes, isn't it interesting how you can watch behaviors just all over the place and people gravitate to the negativity. They share all of the gossip about famous people more than they go and encourage people who've won an award. How fast do we gravitate towards negativity and gossip and slander? And we easily on social media can give a negative thought or give somebody our viewpoints, right? Isn't it interesting how, and I'll tell you, I've experienced this in 8 years, especially starting this Keto Mom page. I would say for the first probably 3 years of this page, I had never experienced more negativity, thoughts about people thought about me. They surely wanted to tell me their thoughts of how I was eating. It's interesting because we have access to something that we can easily tell somebody something negative that you would never tell them in person, right? Like sometimes people will say things to me online and I'm like, oh my goodness, would you actually say that to my face? And so my encouragement to you is take this conversation. I've got a couple more things underlined I want to give to you. This isn't something to take lightly to heart. This is something that really, truly, I believe that so many people experience, whether it's with a parent or somebody in the past, or he says, like our emotions play a huge role in the rest of our life. And I've said this before, it's not my saying, but it's as I think, so I feel, as I feel, so I do, and as I do, so I have. So if you think about what you have in your life and you go back and go, okay, what I have today is a result of my actions. It starts from a feeling and it comes from my thoughts, right? And if my feelings are controlled by other people or bitterness or anger or frustration, I am where I am today because of the feeling. Super important to take thought of, to take captive of, to go, all right, how am I feeling? Am I frustrated? Am I envious? Am I bitter? And how do I get that out of my life? How do I get that poison out? And so we'll continue on. And he goes, I've come to the belief that what we are seeing through social media is the external reflection of our inner worlds. Super interesting, isn't it? Are you a person that goes and encourages people online, or do you get drawn into the drama? Do you add to the drama and the negativity? Are you commenting and encouraging people, or are you causing bitterness in other people's lives? He goes, we must choose positive emotions while negative emotions seem to choose us. I thought that was super insightful. We must choose the positive. You have to choose it. You have to choose to get rid of the bitterness. You have to choose it because guess what? It's easy to fall into the trap of negativity, unforgiveness, bitterness. Like I'm going to go chase that gossip because it sounds interesting, but guess what? It causes a root. It opens a door to poison. That's why optimism is a discipline. It takes discipline to see the good when things are going bad. It takes discipline to see the beauty in the midst of tragedy. It takes discipline to see how the best in people when they let us down. It takes discipline to forgive when the person does not deserve it. It takes discipline to reject the negative voices in our heads and choose to listen to the optimist who cheers us on. Bitterness is a poison that numbs you that numbs you before it kills you. Bitterness doesn't protect your heart, it hardens it. And when you are bitter, it becomes the only emotion that you feel. What's worse is that bitterness cannot be contained. When you hold on to bitterness against one person, you become bitter against the entire world. I had this conversation with specifically somebody this morning, and as I am hopefully helping her walk through some hardships in her life, the first thing I said to her was this: you've got a lot of things to decide. You're walking through a really hard time in your life, but I would encourage you not to allow it to cause a root of bitterness in your life, because if it does, it's going to reflect in everything else that you put your hands to, into your marriage, into your children, into your relationships, into your business. I've seen this happen in family. Other people around us, they could be the most happiest person, but when something comes up, you can see the bitterness come out, and it's not a joyful thing. It is not a good thing. And I often tell these people that are the closest to me that experience a poison of bitterness, I'm like, you have to let it go. You've got to forgive. You've got to he says, I'm not trying to tell you to forget. And there are things that have happened to you in your life that you can't control when you were young or in a marriage, or things that you were like, I didn't get to choose the way that I grew up. So one thing that you can do is he says this, one of the number one things that we have to choose that will ultimately guide us in our life is forgiveness. It's not that you forget. It's not that you put trust in people that maybe did wrong to you. But I'm telling you right now, if you can choose to forgive and get that root of poison out of you, it's going to help all areas of your life. This begins by taking control over the story that defines you. Identify the experience that has shaped you, the memories that have haunted you. Don't try to forget them. Instead, turn them into fuel. You are not a powerless victim. No matter what you have been told or what you've been through, refuse to let anyone or anything have that kind of control over your life. Your pain is real, but the feeling of powerlessness is a lie. So then he goes on, he says, you are part of a bigger story. Yours is a story of hope. You need to make your story a story of resilience. Yours is a story of faith. You overcome challenges. You have wounds, but they are not your story. Your story is a story of healing. Refuse to allow the negative moments of your life to define what you will become. The mind shift that you need to take on from this chapter is allowing you to see that bitterness is a poison and forgiveness is the cure. So to understand that forgiveness is a strength is one of the most powerful mind shifts that you can ever make in your life. Forgiveness is an art form. Forgiveness requires a level of mastery that sets few people into the next place that they're going in their life. And I truly believe that. I believe that if you can understand this mind shift of forgiveness is a cure, bitterness is a disease, and only you can go. I was walking through my house this morning and I was going, where do I have unforgiveness? Who, if I really think about it, do I need to forgive? And I might not even have to go to that person, but in my own heart, right? I can't control other people's feelings, but I can control my emotions. And I'm not going to let the things that other people have done to me dictate my story for the rest of my life, because it creates powerlessness. But if you can do what this says, take back your own story. Do not let the bitterness take root and become who you're becoming in the future. That doesn't have to be your story. So you take that root, you rip it out, and you go, I'm going to forgive. I'm going to keep moving forward. It doesn't mean that you forget, but you forgive. Because isn't it interesting how oftentimes you hold on to things and that person isn't even thinking about it? Maybe you're like, well, my best friend in high school, do you think your best friend in high school is actually thinking about you right now? Or, well, that person really hurt me 10 years ago. Do you think you're the thought on that person's mind, or do you think they're just living their life? Well, my parents, I hear what you're saying. We didn't have a choice growing up as kids, but you do have a choice today to let it go and forgive. Otherwise, if you don't, forgiveness is a superpower. And if you don't choose to move on and forgive, you're going to let that seed plant and grow, and eventually it's going to harden your heart and it's going to affect the rest of your life. So I feel like that was super serious, but I read this morning and I was like, this is a super serious conversation topic that you get to choose. You choose to either get it out of your life, or you get to choose to have that plant planted where it will become so deeply rooted that it's going to be really hard to pluck out. So I don't know who it is that you need to sit down for a second when we're done having a conversation, and you need to just let it go. You need to tell your heart, I'm forgiving this person. I'm not going to hold that person to this standard. I'm not going to allow that person's power control my story for the rest of my life. It's up to you. So this is the book that we've gone through. We'll continue to go through it. I would say this. That was a deep conversation. If you have questions, you can send me a message. I'm not a therapist, but I can pray with you. I can encourage you. I can give you some suggestions. I would encourage you to read the book. I would encourage you to reach out with questions. Continue to tune into the page. I'm always here to help. Go grab some ketones. They're just an incredible fuel. So whatever it is that you're looking for, ask questions below. Send me a message. Grab your mom fuel. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'm always here to help. We'll talk to you very soon. Bye, everybody.